Hey everybody, I gave this disclaimer in my previous Big Brother interview, but just to give it at the top of this one as well. The interview process, for those who don't know, works a little bit differently in the jury phase of a Big Brother season than the pre-jury phase. Of course, previously, I got the ability to talk to the evicted house guests face to face over Zoom, where they can directly answer my questions. In the jury phase, the press ends up instead sending in a list of questions for CBS to ask on our behalf. That is primarily so the network can reserve the right to essentially phase out any sort of questions or content that they might believe brings in outside information that might impair or impact the way that they would ultimately vote in the end. So the process itself is that a producer is asking the questions for the house guest, in this case, Will, to answer. What I do is I work a little bit of editing magic behind the scenes and splice in myself asking the question. So while it might look, hopefully seamlessly, like Will and I are having a conversation back and forth, this is actually just his responses to the questions that I sent in. All that being said, enjoy my interview with Will. In your eviction interview, you mentioned that Vince and Morgan had told you that they would vote for you if you didn't win the blockbuster. In retrospect, do you think there was anything you could have said or done to survive the vote against Ashley?
No, no, I don't think I can do anything. Those two are those two are a duo, and they are how can I say? Vinny and Morgan are tied at the hip, and they are thinking about the final two. I know that their Big Brother meter is so freaking high, and the only thing they are concerned about right now is the final two and who they can beat in the final two. That is their game. And if someone they feel who's going to prevent them from winning $750,000, they're gonna um they're gonna stop it. It wasn't when I think of a team. If I think of an alliance, you rock with that alliance all the way through, and then you pick each other off. Some people have a different concept of an alliance, in this game, and that's their prerogative. And Morgan and Vinny are two of those people because they are dead set on just the final two. There's only 8 of us left in the game, and they decided that I was going to prevent them from winning that money. So they felt they should get rid of me. The problem with the way they are thinking is they still have to get there. They could be with everything that's going on with the mastermind. It could be a double eviction, and one of them could be home or could be in the jury house along with me. I think they play the game too hard, and I think it's going to be a detriment to their game. And I think that they have set themselves up to be the same as Riley and Catherine. And I think that they will be following me here soon. But back to the question, nothing, nothing at all. I couldn't have changed their mind, and I really didn't try. I knew they were dead set, and what I'm not gonna do is beg somebody for a damn vote. I'm not that person. Yeah, I can't do it. I won't allow myself to do it, and they uh they went back on the alliance, and it happened within 2 days. I went from being definitely safe to definitely leaving, and it happened in 48 hours. So it is what it is. But I think one or both of them will be following me here pretty soon.
What was your reaction to everything that went down throughout the White Locust twist, from the picks being made to Rachel's elimination? And how much do you think it led to your eviction at the end of the week?
First off, the White Lotus twist was amazing. I was blown away, and I've never watched the White Lotus show. Never watched the show. Heard about it, and the kids talked a lot about it. And my wife watched, I want to say, the first season of it, but I haven't watched it. I got to watch it when I go back home. But the way it was set up like a resort, and the food, they had the grilled chicken, they had the crab ragoons, and they had the mocktails and all these different things. So it was real nice, and it changed out the furniture, and everything was cool. And but I also knew something was up. Knew something was gonna be tripping. Everything was too nice. And anytime something's too nice in the house, something crazy happens. And that's what happened. Prior to the White Locust stuff, Mickey went home. So that was already a number. Mickey went home was quote unquote great for the house, but it was a number for me. So that changed. We do the White Locust stuff. The mastermind comes out, does the maniacal, the maze, and Rachel ends up leaving, which was another number in the house, and another number for me. So in one night, two of the people who I know won't vote me out leave the house. So with that being said, I'm vulnerable, very vulnerable in the house in terms of votes. And now a member of the judges is going home, and also, with Mickey going home, and then Lauren wins HOH. The person who I did not want to win HOH won HOH, and of course, she puts up myself, Ashley, and Morgan. So everything that could go wrong went wrong on that night. And the only person I can blame is the mastermind. That's the only person I can blame. I can't blame anybody else. It was a crazy, surreal experience. And on top of that, the two ladies who make the most food for us leaves in one night. And I'm spoiled. I'm spoiled in my real life, and I'm spoiled in the Big Brother house with food. So I'm struggling. And I knew I was going to be struggling. So I go to, for eating steaks and crab. Nah, we ain't had crab. Steaks and what's other stuff? Shrimp and pork chops and all these great food things, and muffins, to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Quick. It wasn't a good experience, and it's the mastermind's fault.
Your strategy involved generally supporting or agreeing with the person you were speaking with at the time. Talk to me more about that tactic. Were you ever worried your allies would compare notes and figure out what you were doing?
No, because in the house, because you have certain people in the house who just love to talk, and if you love to talk, I'm going to let you talk. I've learned that in life. You have talkers who like to hear themselves speak, and you have those individuals who think they're the smartest in the room. So if you think you're the smartest in the room, I'm gonna let you continue to think you're the smartest in the room. I think this game is about deception. If this game is about deception, just talk, because eventually you're gonna talk yourself out of into a situation where you're gonna be in trouble. And that's happened a lot in this house. You just constantly talking, and it happened to Mickey, it happened to Jimmy, it happened to Zach. It happened to multiple people in the house where they're just constantly talking, and once they sometimes they forget what they said and who they said it to, and you making multiple alliances or agreeing or whatever the case may be, and they forget what they said. So my strategy of listening without being what's the word I'm looking for? Not trying to be deceptive, but just listening to what they're saying, and then if it's some BS, if you're saying some BS to me, I'm just gonna let you say some BS to me. Okay, that's fine. But I listen, and I take that to whoever I'm working with, or whoever I potentially could work with. Because being that I was in like 4 or 5 different alliances throughout this game, if something was said to me by someone that I didn't agree with, I'm not going to say to that person, I don't like what you said, or I ain't going to do this or that. That's how you get in trouble. So I would wait, I would pause, I would um, reassess in my head, and then pivot from that. There's a lot of things that was said in this house that I didn't like, or just sounded crazy, and I either one thought it was stupid, two um, filed it away in my head to use later in a future conversation, or three just forgot about it. And I had to be real conscious of my time, or particular with my time, because we we repeat the same conversations all the time in this house, and the so-called strategies that were going on in the house with certain people were so repetitive, and and they change hourly sometimes. Um, so I would listen, I would agree, or they'll think I agree by nodding my head or whatnot, and I'm like, nah, this is crazy. This ain't gonna work, and I'll let it be. That was my tactic for some members of the house.
Talk about playing the game with such a generation gap from your fellow house guests. Did you feel you were ultimately able to overcome it?
The hardest part of this game for me was the generation gap, and trying to navigate talking to 22, 23, 24 year olds every day, and spending 24 hours a day with them, and sleeping in bunk beds with them, and stuff like that, and showering with seven people in the bathroom was weird. It was a weird dynamic. um I don't know. I don't think I don't think that I overcame it. I just kind of circumvented it, and went around it. Um, it was difficult. It was difficult for 66 days. It was difficult. It was. I went through a lot of hard things in my life. I was a young father. I did 22 years in the army. I went to multiple places where I was uncomfortable, and in harm's way. I've been divorced. There's a lot of crazy things that's happened in my life, but one of the craziest things in my life is being locked away for 66 days with a whole bunch of 20-some-year-olds. That is that is the truth. And if it was flipped, whereas it was a bunch of 50-year-olds and only a couple of 20-some-year-olds, um, my experience would have been much different. And I relayed that message to them, trying to get them to understand that. Whereas they, I'm the minority in the house. I don't have that that those people to talk to. So I don't have those people to hang out with. I don't have those people to chop it up with and just talk about real adult stuff. Um, and they did. Some of these kids just got out of college. Some of these kids are living at home with their parents. Some of these kids are living off their parents. Um, so that dynamic was tough, because some things I just couldn't talk to them about because they haven't experienced it yet. Um, I wish there was a Cerie or Miss Felicia or Angela in this house. My experience in that regard would have been so much better. But I understand how this game works, and I understand the demographic that is catered to, and I try my best to navigate through it. And I navigated my way through it for 66 days, and um, it was a tough experience. But I think it made me appreciate my demographic even more, and it made me understand that you can be lonely in so many different circumstances, even when you are around 16 other people. And I felt that way in the Big Brother house for 66 days.
Finally, give me your rapid fire thoughts on each of the remaining house guests, starting with Ashley.
uh Hillary Banks from Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Ava.
Kind heart. Funny as hell.
Keanu.
Uh, Aggravating, but misunderstood.
Kelly.
Different. Crazy. Very, getting comfortable in her own skin.
Lauren.
Quiet. Um, a kid.
Morgan.
Talkative. Sweet. Um, Talkative, sweet. Still trying to figure it out.
And finally, Vince.
Negotiator. Um, Smart dude. Smart dude. Um, Survivor.